After filming my last video, I noticed that I was looking at my Ocean Spray 1-can stoves that I make. These are exactly like Mini Bull Designs Elite stove. Now I shouldn't say exactly because mine are handmade and they're a little flimsier than his. However, they work the same way and it's hot and very flimsy type can and simple. But I notice sometimes when I cook with these, if I put a cold pot of water on a stove, it'll bring that down and almost kill it. So when I was looking, I was like, this lid off of this wedding tin that I had would make a fabulous top rim for one of these stoves. Actually, I was thinking about it as a way to seal the stove, but that would be impossible because you have the holes out here. And when I put it on, I thought to myself, you know what? That'd be perfect for setting the stove down and then adding, another rim on there. That way when you put your pot on, you don't bring the temperature down as fast. Anyways, in theory, it should work, but I want to actually test it and see. These are similar stoves, so they should work, similarly. This one has currently no rim on it from the wedding tin, and this one has a rim on it from the wedding tin. And the jets are just below that. So I'm going to try and light both these. I have 2 cups of water in each one of these pots here. They're different pots, I understand that. But I want to see how it reacts with that rim on there and see if it makes a difference on how it cooks. I actually got to throw that lighter away. I got a new lighter here. So we'll get these going, let them bloom, see if it takes a different amount of time to bloom, and then we will, the one's bloomed already. And the second one has not bloomed yet. Look at that. Oh, there it goes. Sometimes it takes a little fanning to get into bloom. Taking longer to bloom. Definitely with that lid on there. So that's a difference. I'll go ahead and put this on here right away. And it didn't even die down. The water wasn't that cold. That one's not really getting a good bloom on it, if you notice, with the metal lid on there. So that's quite interesting. So maybe it won't make a difference or help at all. We'll put this one on here now. And see how they burn. Each of them actually have exactly 2 cups of water in there. See, the right one without the rim on there is actually a better flame. So maybe the idea isn't all that correct. Sometimes if I block the light a little bit, it's easier to see. Yeah, I thought that might work better, but this is still an excellent burn, so it may not even be necessary. Yes, definitely the one on the right is still burning better. So I guess we'll switch the lid to the other side just to make sure it isn't the stove. And it's not the actual lid I put on there, but definitely the one on the right is doing a better job. There's our boil on that one finally. Just heard it starting to boil. I don't know if you can see it from where you're at. There's our boil on that one. And we're still just sitting with some bubbles starting to form, or doing a good job of forming. I shouldn't just say starting to form. They're actually doing a good job over here. They're just not there yet. A lot more airspace in that one though. But I think the flames are pretty close now to each other. Pretty similar in size. Hard to tell with the lights all the way on, but from what I can see, they're pretty similar in size. So now we're coming to a boil. And we'll probably get there before it runs out of fuel. But it was slower to start, and the flames were different. So interesting. Alright, well, let me get everything cooled back down. We will try it again with the other method, flipping that metal top to the other one. Be right back. Alright, and as I mentioned, to be fair on the test here, just real quick, I'm going to do the same test with the metal ring on this one instead of this one. And again, that's just a wedding tin metal ring from the top of it. Obviously, the plastic piece has been punched out. I keep saying I'm going to throw that away. I'm going to throw that away. Both lit, and we'll do just like we did last time. We'll turn the light off so we can see how fast they bloom and if that did make a difference. So this one bloomed faster, and that one's taking a little longer. Could be the stove itself, maybe. We had to fan that one a little bit last time. So they both got going, and once they got going, back when that one's not lit, we let them go for a few seconds, get a good bloom on them, and then we place the stove, the heat on them, like that. And I'm going to bring you guys down level so that you guys can see the flames and how they're adjusting. Again, the one to the left is having troubles. And out. Look at that. And the one to the right is not having troubles. I would say this stove is more of the problem than the actual ring, maybe. Because this ring didn't go down. It did. More than it did last time. Could be I was using colder water, maybe. I don't know. Let that get up bloomed again. And in cold weather, that would really be a problem. You're not very cold down here tonight. Temperature has risen pretty good. So that one, after being relit and set back on there, it's going to do the same thing, isn't it? Maybe there's an issue with that stove in itself. This one did not go out at all this time, but the last time it didn't go out even less. So, but I think my water might have been a little colder, so that probably was the problem with this test. These two waters are exactly the same. They come out of one pot. But you can see this one over here is still having trouble compared to this one. So the ring may or may not have helped this one. I guess the next test I'd have to do would be to do it again 2 times in a row with the same temperature water to see what the differences are. Because it definitely came down when I put the pot on. Alright, so I guess there's a little more investigation to do on this and see if it works. But for now, that's all I'm going to do on this test, because it was really just to see if there was a difference in the startup. And it did look like there was. But I got a funny feeling that it has to do with the stove itself being different versus the rim on there. So that is staying a little bit lower in flames than it did previously. I don't know exactly why. Now I do notice that this is already cool enough to touch, although it was lower flame. This is down here, that metal ring at the top, whatever it's made of, is not that cool. It needs some cool down time. So I mentioned I was going to show you the stoves, but that partially means I have to drain them. And I have to drain all of them into something. So I'm looking for something to drain them into, because I don't have a funnel handy. See how much of it I can get in here. I don't think I can get it all in there. There's a lot more than that's going to handle. Since we didn't burn very long. Oh, no, it's going to just about fill it up. Alright, let me give you a close-up of these stoves really quick. Now I just got to find some way to get that all back in there. So I'll give you a close-up of these stoves really quick. Got fuel all over the place over here. Don't need to light a match. From an angle view, that way I don't get the glare. So the stoves are almost identical, made the same way. They both have that big hole in the one side. This one has an upper hole and another lower hole, and that one just has one hole, which is why that one's probably pulsating, because it only has one hole instead of 2, and it doesn't have the upper hole for relief, so that needs to be added to this one. This one had the ring on it this time. Other than that, they're very similar stoves. There's not much different about them. They're made the same way. They're made the same height. They're both crimped across the bottom here. And it's a poor crimp job, but it is a crimp job the same. Nothing different. The holes are about the same. There's the same amount of jets on each one. Similar. It's a rough job, but nonetheless, obviously this one needs that upper hole to keep it from pulsating. So, stoves are similar. This, don't know if it's much help. It was an interesting idea. I thought I'd give it a try, but I don't know that it's going to be of any help. Anyways, that's my video on my 1-can Elite stove with and without a ring. Thanks for watching.